Good afternoon, welcome to Dunsmore Moving Dirt. This is the next pond that we moved to from the last one we dug. It was a quarter of a mile through that brush there. This is another long and not very wide at all pond here. It's backs up all them weeds, stand water, but probably not a foot of water when it's full. And his road and everything coming up to it's where the pickup is over there. Well, I think most of the time when it got full, it run around because that road had ruts in it 2 foot deep for 1,000 foot where that water runs. So I'm going to try to block all that off up to my pickup, tie it into the spoil that's there down, and let it spill over here, which will get it away from his road and everything. I just got through peeling off some topsoil. That's going to be one edge of the hole. That's kind of where the water is. I'm going to try to get all this some deep water, because when water's shallow, it just don't last very long. Where that bucket is, that holds 3 foot of water right there where that bucket is when it's full. And there's probably 2 to 3 foot of water in the tank. There might be a little bit more, I can't tell in the middle of that, but it's just like it'll just hold 4 more foot of water when it spills where it used to. But it'll still hold about the same amount of water. But this is going to be, I hope to get a big hole here and get some depth on this thing. This will be where my spoil is, or dam comes up through here, and it'll be a half a foot higher than that over there, so that way it'll go around that way when it's full. This old ground's pretty flat. It don't run really fast either way. But I got through just peeling all the topsoil back, putting it behind, then I'll put it back over the dam when I'm through. And basically this mark here will somewhere be the edge of the hole, and that'll be the other edge on that other side. So hopefully I can get him a pretty good hole here, something that'll hold water. They said they never see it dry, but I can't see how that lasts very long down there, especially in the summertime. It'll last longer this time of the year when it don't get very hot. So anyway, that's the next project we're just going to start. We'll get to digging more on it probably tomorrow. I'm going to kind of get it laid out and kind of see what's down here. It looks like there's some pretty good clay underneath that top of that soil. It's kind of sandy loam stuff. But this is another old tank, and it goes on up there, then it gets real narrow and goes up into that brush. But like I say, that's not a foot deep when it's full. So then it backs up. It backed up all over here, but 2 inches of water just ain't going to cut it around here. So there's quite a bit of dirt that they dug out of that hole and got around the edge, but that hole could be silted in. The size of them trees, it's pretty old hole. Now there's one spot I've got to raise the dam up a little bit. It's just right through there. There's a kind of a low spot. There's a shadow now, it's hard to see, but that's just like 1.5 foot of freeboard when the thing's full. So both sides of it's got 3 foot of freeboard. It's just a cow trail come over that little old dam right there. So I'll clear some trees out and put some dirt on top, so it won't ever try to bust through right there, because that's probably the lowest spot behind it that it can go. But maybe I can get a pretty good hole. All this will be whole when I'm full, and that dirt will tie right into where that deer vine blowed over up there. Then I'll put the topsoil back on it. So try to get him a hole here that'll hold some deep water instead of shallow water. So that's the next little project that I'm fixing to start. So we'll let y'all see some of that as we're digging this hole out. So thanks again for watching this channel. If you haven't subscribed, wish you'd do that and help this channel grow. Hit the like button. Any comments that you have, be glad to answer them, and kind of what goes on out here in the country. So till we get to digging here, we'll set up the camera probably tomorrow and let you see some of that digging. So thanks for watching. Bye. dig this down next to this water, and I'm wanting to get the dirt over there, build that in and get it caught up with my hole first. So you always want to get your dozer to lean it so you don't have to sit there and fight the steering when you're wanting to turn. If you'll get it to lean in and start biting in, it'll just carry you right around there. You can't push dirt, hardly a cut dirt, if you're trying to steer the dozer at the same time, because it just, to steer a bulldozer, you got to take the power off of one track for it to turn. So when you're cutting and pushing dirt, you want both tracks to be pulling the same all the time. So if you'll get your dozer to leaning, you never have to touch your steering clutches to get it to go where you want it to. And that way you can watch that sloper and you can get it like you want it and work away from it. Once I start pushing over here, then I'll be pushing straight. Right now I'm wanting to curve around this and get that dirt, tie this stem into where that deer feeder is, and get that up like I want it first before I get too deep in the ground. over now and you want to stop, just kind of get the front going back down again. You never want to try to cut dirt going uphill if you can keep from it. So sometimes you got to stop. Where I piled this dirt a while ago, that's part of the hole. So I want to get it going downhill before I back up here and start cutting on this again. So you can push dirt uphill, you want to cut it going downhill. When all possible. Get this front slope. We've done some more moving dirt. We're in a little bit different dozer right now because mine is broke down. Started off to be a good day, man. Everything was working good. I went down in the hole and got a load of dirt and started coming back up. Lights went to flashing, telling me to stop, and it stopped all right. So I shut the engine off, checked everything, no oil pouring out of it. So got back in it, started it up. No hydraulics or nothing, and it was telling me to stop again. So I stopped again and got off and looked. It wouldn't go backwards or forwards, or no hydraulics. So, and here I am in the bottom of the tank with a load of dirt in front of me. I'm thinking it's maybe the coupler that hooks the pumps up to the flywheel, and maybe something shredded in there. So there's a mechanic out here right now, and I'm gonna do some checking and pressure checking and see what it is. If that's shelled, the only way to move it is to, there's a switch on the side of the transmission underneath the cab. It's supposed to put everything in neutral so you can move it if it's not running. So I don't know if this thing, this is a 650 John Deere. I don't know if it'll pull it or not. Maybe if I can get all the dirt away from the blade. If I can get the blade up there where it'll stay, I can make the slope pretty flat where I can pull it up on hard ground. They got to work underneath the cab to pull the pump out of, or loosen the pump and push it to the back and get that coupler deal off the flywheel. So I don't know. We'll see how bad it is when I get up there. So it'd be nice if it was a sensor or something, but I can hear it whining underneath the cab when I start it up. So as of right now, that's all I know where we're at. So maybe it won't be as bad as I'm afraid it's going to be. It'll be what it is. Fix it and go on. So I may drive this in a little bit after I get it out of the hole. Might as well push a little dirt with something. That won't be today. Maybe tomorrow. So it's got a 6-way blade. I used a 550 one time to dig a tank when they was putting tracks on the bulldozer. For what it was, it moved a lot of dirt. So this one's a little bit bigger than the 550, so it's not a 750 though. So we'll see. It does have a little set of rippers on the back, so that'll help. So anyway, you hate when something like that happens. I mean, I'd much rather be up on hard ground when it happened than halfway out of the hole, because there's no way you can work on it where it's at. That's just impossible to be down in that hole, and if it was to rain, that would really be bad. So first thing to do is try to get it out of the hole, get it where they can work on it. I wish I had it at their shop or my shop, but I just had to pull it so far and then try to load it up with no power. I mean, I can winch it on there, but that's not really, I'd have to unhook my trailer and everything. So we'll see what happens when we get up here. Like I say, it is what it's going to be. That's just part of it. They're going to break down. You can't choose where they break down. So we'll see what happens when we get down to the tank. I know one thing, this air conditioner does not work very good in here. I I may not have the right button pushed. We'll talk to y'all after a bit. Well, we got it out of the hole. That's all the little dozer wants to pull that thing. It's all right till I try to turn. I think we're gonna get it up here on hard ground. He thinks it that coupler's shredded in that thing, so he's gonna have to pull them pumps out. So if I can get her up here on hard ground, that'll be a good thing. Right there, that's good. I'm going to have to push it from here on out. That blade's dragging and they just ain't got enough. Good morning, thanks for watching Dunsmore Moving Dirt. We're back out where we was towing the bulldozer out of the hole, and the 650 got it done. And I've had it in eco mode, and that may have been why it was just barely pulling it out. I didn't know I'd reached up here and hit that button right there, and it didn't seem like it had very many RPM, so that might have been why I was having a little bit of trouble. But I figured out I had that on there, and it was had it wound up to 2120, 2130 this morning. So anyway, I come down through here to widen this road out a little bit. That service truck's having a hard time getting in here without scratching it up, and I just didn't make it that wide for one of them big service trucks. So anyway, he's down there pulling the pumps off of it this morning, trying to get to the coupler so they can figure out that shelled out. So anyway, I was going to widen this road out a little bit, and I kind of knocked some of the few trees back, and that might have been scratching on this truck. And I'm headed back down there to the hole, and we'll probably get in the tank, start digging a little bit this morning. So I'll let y'all see that when we get to digging. Might set it up on time lapse, but it's got a roomy cab in it, just like the 550 I used one time. The cab's as big as that on that 750. It's a little different. Still turn it this way, but your forward and reverse is this button here, instead of pushing it forward or pulling it back. And then this is your speed control. On this one, this is, of course, it's got a 6-way blade, and that's most people know how that works if you got a 6-way blade, but I don't. That tilts it one way or the other, kind of like molding, and the only thing that cranks it around one side or the other like a motor grader blade. So anyway, it's just getting used to everything, but it's a nice, comfortable machine and everything. So I think it's just got 216 hours on it, so it's a pretty new machine and everything. So anyway, we're going to head back down to the tank, and we'll let y'all see that as we're going down that way. Sorry for the windshield wiper being in the way, but I don't know how not to do it where it's not in the way. So I helped him a little bit. Told him when he got ready to pull that to holler. When you see your dozer looking like that, it's usually not good news, but they've got in there far enough to see that it's the gear that's thrashed out. It's a plastic gear. You can't see from this side. I'll show it to you right quick. Probably can't see down in there, but there's a plastic gear that bolts to the flywheel, and then all of this is pumps that drive everything. And that there's a gear right there, and it goes inside that plastic one, and it's just very little teeth. It's spinning, so can't quite get it all out yet. He's going to have to. There's a big elbow, that big metal elbow that goes to that pump there. We're going to take that elbow off. When it does, it'll drain the tank, so they're going to wait till they get the part, pull that off there, open it up, drain the tank, and got to pull all that back far enough to get that gear out of there. So that's where we're at. So order parts, and might be Thursday, might be Friday for they can get the parts. So then they'll drain the oil, put everything back together, put the oil in it, close it up, not leave it open very long. So anyway, so we're going to keep digging on the hole with the mighty 650. So I learned pretty quick. I mean, I do it all the time in this, getting if I'm pushing dirt for very far, I can just, even though this is a semi-U blade, you kind of get in the trench and push for a while, especially if that a straight blade like that, if you can sit in one deal and get it, you kind of keep that dirt in front of you, especially when you're going up a slope. So kind of helps moving it. So it's got plenty of power now. It'll spin the tracks, there's no doubt about it. If you hit something you can't move, the tracks will sit there and just spin. This thing, usually when you're up against something and you can't move it, and if it's that big, it just, everything kind of just slows down, and it'll spin the tracks. But there's quite a bit of difference. That's a 650 and this is a 750. They come out with the 700 to kind of bridge the gap a little bit. But that's a 4-cylinder. This is a 6-cylinder, and the weight's the biggest thing. That's got plenty of power. It just ain't near as heavy a machine as this right here. So anyway, gonna get my lunch bucket out of the pickup and I'll set the camera up on time lapse over here in the shade, maybe. Well, I don't know, maybe partial sun, and show you a little bit digging with the 650K. And if I got a chance of rain, I built a little dike a while ago back there in case it did run water, but I don't think it will. I'm going to have a deep enough hole. If it fills up the hole where I'm digging, I've got plenty of room to go farther up in the tank. So we'll let y'all see some of that after a bit. Bye. Looks a whole lot better now than it did with it all one part that way and one part that way. So got it running a couple hours ago. Tried everything out and it's all working right. No noises, no lights, no buzzers going stop. So I got the 650. I walked it up to the edge of the brush where I can come get it and take it home tomorrow. Then Monday I'll take it back to Yellow House. They sure got me out of a bind letting me use that thing. So I've always had good relationship with Yellow House. I mean, I bought 3 dozers and a motor grader from them, and they've done a lot of work for me, and they always treat you nice and they're real fair and everything. So I surely recommend Yellow House Machinery Company if you ever got any needs for anything John Deere, or look them up and they'll be glad to help you. But I kind of cleaned up the hole. I was working here with the 650 and it just seemed like backing up there, and time I got up here with some dirt, even working in a little bit of the channel, and then that was gummy and it got hard. So yesterday and this morning I just decided just to make some short trips back up there, and that dirt didn't want to come off your blade, and it just seemed like I couldn't get it off that little blade. So I just backed up and made some short passes, and matter of fact, I just dug down as far as I could go. I'd ripped it and dug down as far as I could go. Then I moved over a full blade and left a little bit, kind of got another trough started, and I just did that before dinner. I had it just trough after trough, just one, and I'd get down in it, and then I ripped it up and I was going to start back again. And as long as I'd stay in that trough and get that blade loaded up pretty good and it shed off the blade good, and I moved quite a bit of dirt before dinner this morning. And I mean, it's kind of a finish up dozer, but you know, if you can figure out how to use it to what it was built to do. And I moved a lot of dirt, just short passes, not backing all the way up to there, and it did all right. I moved a lot of this dirt here this morning. Then when I got my other dozer fixed, I went down there and ripped that old red stuff up, pushed some of it up and everything. So anyway, got it back together, and I sure was worried about trying to get out of the hole, but that thing got it out of the hole that I was using, and that all worked out. So next week we'll start digging with the big dozer. I mean, when you get out of a dozer that big and get into one smaller, it seems like you're not doing a whole lot, which you're doing what the dozer is capable of doing. That dozer at 650 is not really digging a hole down in the ground and pushing the dirt 200 foot. That's not really what it's built for. It's a finish up dozer, you know, pushing loose dirt and stuff. But it sure got me out of a bind. And when I finally started digging like I did this morning, I mean, I moved a lot of dirt in a little old short time. So I think it's got 105 horsepower and it weighs 22,000. You know, compared to the 750, that's 165 horsepower, and probably with the rippers and everything on it, it's probably weighing 36,000. So you got to have some weight to do the kind of work that I'm doing, to go with your horsepower and everything. Now these trees would be way too big for that 650. Now littler stuff, it could pop them out of the ground, but you got to have that weight and some horsepower when you go trying to pop them out of the ground, because them's big trees. And if it was wet, if there's a lot of moisture, that'd be different. And I'd like to run that dozer with a set of 18-inch tracks on it. It has 24s, which it's LGP, low ground pressure, which you just don't have a lot of weight on the ground per square inch. And you got to have a little weight when you got that horsepower to keep you from spinning the track. It'd spin the tracks in a heartbeat, but if you're spinning tracks, you're not going nowhere. So like I say, if you're trying to really dig and poke your blade in the ground, it hit a tight spot, and I hit one stump when I was fixing that road. I busted the tree over, went back to get the stump. As soon as I stuck the blade in the ground, it just went to spinning. I mean, the engine never slowed down a bit. I mean, it was just digging in the ground, or just digging on top of the ground, where a set of narrow tracks would have went down in the ground a little bit and might have got some more traction. So, oh, you could have walked across water with it. I mean, it's flotation and everything. So, but anyway, I finally figured it out, and I got back in it this morning and ripped everything up, so it worked pretty good. So like I say, it was built for a certain kind of type of work, heavy digging and pushing dirt 100 yards. It's not made for that, but it's got its thing. It's got that tilt blade and angle blade, and kind of like having a motor grader with tracks. So I can see working on ditches and road beds like that, and then pads, spreading dirt out and stuff, and probably be a nice little dozer to do that, and you can move some dirt like that. So anyway, we're gonna come out here in the morning, load it up and take it home, and come back out here Monday and get in that one, start digging a hole. So we'll let y'all see that when we start up again. So thanks for watching this channel. Bye. Well, that went a whole lot better than it did when I loaded it up at Yellow House the other day. It was just, I was all over the place, but I'm gonna chain it down when I get back up there to the pins. I don't know if that cloud's coming this way or not. I don't want to be out here in this field when it rains. So thank y'all for watching. Bye.